Hey guys, what is going on? So I did a webinar with my team about level 2 and times in sales, and I realized that there's actually not a lot of videos on YouTube to explain the real how to trade level 2. Everyone talks about level 2, but people don't know how to actually watch level 2 themselves, and they're trying to teach other people. Stay till the end, and I'm pretty sure the most confusing concept of level 2 will be clear. And I'll see you guys at the end of the video now. So the first thing that I want everybody to read is just for some legal purposes. I'm not investment, financial, tax, or legal advisor. This is all from my personal knowledge that I've gained. But anyway, let's get started. So today we're going to talk about level 2. It's really one of the most fun topics because I see everybody so scared of level 2. I think it's more of that I don't know the word in Punjabi in my language, but I don't know the word in English. If something goes like, when you're scared of something, it scares you more. Like a dog always bites you. The dog who bites, it's always the one that you're always scared of. Like, if you're not scared of it, you're approaching it, nah, you're never gonna do nothing. But if you're scared, it always scares you more. So same goes for level 2. Level 2 is one of those topics, and it's really, people make it very complicated, but it's one of the easiest topics. So by the time we finish this webinar, it won't go too long. I have a habit to make things simple, like no BS, something that really doesn't matter in the real world. I will not be going over it. Only the stuff that means something to you guys and will help you guys in any way will actually help you guys. It will be in this. So let's get it. So first, what is level 2? So level 2 is simply a term used to describe the book of every pending orders. That's pretty much it. So if I place a order that I want to buy, say, Apple at 200 and I want to buy 100 shares, or if I say I want to buy Apple 5,000 shares at $100, so it will show up on this side at $100, 500 shares. And if I want to sell, say, 500 shares at 200, it will come up on this. That's basically it. Bids and asks, and every single the what's it called, auctions and stuff. It's pretty much that it. So the number is usually this number. You see this? Doesn't matter what broker you use. It actually does matter what broker you use. So this number is usually multiplied by 100. But for me, in this case, the examples that I'm showing you, it's already multiplied by 100. So just remember, this is 200 shares, not 20,000 shares. It's already multiplied by 100. But if you use TOS, if you use Interactive Brokers, or whichever platform you use, there will be option to show you the actual numbers, actual shares, rather than just a number. So you can turn it on, but it depends on whatever broker you use, all right? And level 2 will give you information on things like what people want to buy and what price they want to buy at, right? And it's pretty good. It's pretty good, giving you a good sign of support and resistance. So support comes through a lot of bids. So let's say the price is fallen. There's a lot of bids. What happens? Price bounces a little because there's not many sellers but more buyers. Those are the bids make the price bounce, and ask is always the resistance. If too many sellers are there at that particular price goes there, rejects. So level 2 can provide you insights as to where support and resistance levels and whether the demand is weighted towards buyers or sellers, right? Let's see now. Let's make it more we simplify it more. So now, components of level 2. So please save your questions all the way to the end. It probably will go for another 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I try to make things simple. Any questions we'll discuss at the end, all right? So what are the components of level 2? So the first one is exchange. Every single, unless you play up with how it looks, every single platform that you use will have almost the same. You'll have exchange. What exchange is? These are different exchanges. And then you'll have the bids. That's a price where people want to buy the shares at, and this is the shares they want to buy at this price from this exchange. Right? Same goes for the ask side as well. It's simply if you use TOS, they use a certain type of exchange to fill the orders. If you use TOS, they use a certain exchange. You can change the exchange as well, but I think Interactive Broker use SMRT to, like, for me personally, I when I'm doing big size, I'm either doing Arca or I'm doing Nasdaq when I'm moving big size, because they are mostly liquid exchanges. So you can choose your exchange, or you can just normally go for the default, but really doesn't matter if you're doing small size. But when you're doing big size, this stuff you always automatically learn. All right. So this is the components of level 2. Now, there's just 2 out of the whole noise on the internet about level 2. There's only 2 conditions that you need to be careful of. All right. 2 conditions for either side, for the bids and asks. 2 and 2. There's just 2 conditions that you need to know, nothing else. So the first one is, I like to call it, the first one is stacked. Right. Second is thin. And this is it. That's level 2, stacked and thin. Right. Now, what is stacked? So it can be bids and can be asks, but we'll talk about the bids first and then we'll move to the ask. Right. So what is stacked bid? Stacked bid simply means when too many sellers, when too many buyers, it's a bid side. Stacked bid, when too many buyers are sitting at the same price point from different exchanges. Right. So let's say this can be 100 level, but from 4 different exchanges, you have people trying to buy 100 over 1,000 shares, right? From all different 4 exchanges, they're trying to buy 1,000 shares. What happens? It becomes a stack. It's simply like think of a notebook. If you try to rip it apart, it's very hard. Because why? Because everything's stacked on top of each other and you cannot tear it apart, right? So that's simply stacked. That means a lot of orders are sitting at the same price point, and when the prices go there, oftentimes it becomes a strong demand zone where the prices bounce, right? That's stacked bid. Now, what is thin bid? Thin bid means simply there are not a lot of buyers, so the prices can fall through. That simply means this. A single sheet of paper, if you try to rip it, this is what happens. You see what I'm saying? So there's only one order. It can't stop the price from going lower, and prices move lower. I'll show you some examples as well. I'm just clearing out the basics so you understand, right? So this is stacked and this is thin. Prices go lower really quick. There's nothing actually stopping the price from going lower, and prices move lower. So that's a thin bid. Whereas a stacked bid simply means a lot of orders at the same price point where the prices usually bounce. All right. So now let's talk about, on the other side, we have stacked asks, right? I'll give you examples. As I said, stacked asks simply means there's a lot of orders sitting at the same price point. Price goes, tries to break it, couldn't break it. We can play reject, or we can wait for the price to go above it. Just remember, once we break a critical stack, once we break heavy on a critical stack, there are big chances that we will just keep going higher, right? So I'll show you some examples how we can have a look at those things. But stacked simply means there are a lot of sellers at the same price point. Price comes there, it rejects, and we're done with it. Thin, like this, there's not many. Like it would be like 100 shares every 20 cents. So it's like this. Prices tries to go, boom, it straight away breaks out. So there's nothing really stopping things. There's nothing really stopping the price from moving further because there's not many sellers, right? Now, let me show you some examples. There's just 2 things. Remember, stacked bid and stacked asks, right? Then thin bids and thin asks. That's all about it. Level 2, this is it. And I'll show you examples of each now, and then we move forward. All right. So what do you see here? See 5 different exchanges at the same price point, 796. And we have these many shares. Just remember, one little note that I'll give you guys is we need more than 3 over 1,000 shares orders from over 3 exchanges. All right, this is a little something that you guys need to remember. We need more than 3 over 1,000 shares orders from different exchanges, from 3 different exchanges, in order for a price to become a stack. Right. So in this case, what happened? 796 became a stack. Now, what does that mean? That means if the prices came down, it came to 796. If it broke lower, but the moment it reclaims, we can bounce higher. Why? Market makers know that a lot of people who are buying a 796, or the new people who are seeing this 796, a lot of buyers, they're jumping in. They know this, right? So the psychology plays in right here. Like if you think about it, that's roughly 3,512 shares at 796. You do the max, that's $28 million, right? That means $28 million are sitting there to scoop up the shares So market makers know that a lot of people will have the stop losses just below it. So they will on purpose break it lower. They'll on purpose break it lower just to get those people stopped out, get their shares as well. And the moment we reclaim, so you shouldn't enter right here. If you see this, don't enter straight away. Where you want to enter, you want to see some confirmation for a bounce, right? That's where your strategies will come into place while you're watching the level 2 at that particular time for first place, right? So the moment the price reclaims, yeah, feel free to enter, and you'll see a lot of times it'll actually bounce, right? So in this case, this became a stack. Prices came down. Now we know that we can take a call. Prices can bounce from here, right? So this is an example of stacked bid, and let me show you on the charts how it actually turned out. These are the charts. What happened? So whole day prices were bearish. See, prices coming down from 815. It's coming down and down and down. Now, let's say you can also use this to take profits, right? Let's say you were in puts the whole time. You were in puts. And now you're seeing a stack at 796. You're seeing a big stack of big order. You can either use it to take profits on your puts, or you can use it to buy some calls, or if you like me, you can just get out of your puts and buy calls and make money on the way up as well, right? So you see 796. Let me show you the time so you guys know that I'm not bullshitting. 10:09. So it happened exactly at the same time that I'm showing you guys, right? So 796 prices broke below 796. As you guys can see this, it came down to 795.27. So when it came down, the moment it reclaimed, feel free to enter the calls if you want to, because the critical level has been reclaimed, and we bounced to 806, right? $10 bounce. That's a big bounce on Tesla, and we all know that. Right? If you trade Tesla, you know this, right? So that's an example of stacked bid. If you see a lot of different exchanges, big size sitting at the same price point, we can either take profits off our puts there, or it's a 5-minute chart. This is a 1-minute chart, but I usually do, when you're watching level 2, it doesn't really matter if you're watching 5-minute chart or 1 minute, you're watching level 2, right? This is just to showcase. I would have entered the moment it reclaimed straight away. All right, let's talk about stack asks. We have done the stack bids. Now time to do the stack ask. All right, look at this. Now, remember, do not enter simply just, there's a stack, let me enter puts. There's a stack, let me enter calls. Don't do this stuff. You also need a strategy. This is where your strategy will come into place. Level 2 will just refine it. Level 2 will make you a beast looking at your strategy, and you'll be like, nah, all right, I understand, right? You see what I mean? So here, Tesla on 2nd of Feb, on 22nd Feb, 856, we have different exchanges, 4 different exchanges sitting at the same price point. That's roughly 3,400 shares times 856, 29 point something mil, sitting to get filled at 856 at 10:29. Now let's see what the charts look like, right? Look at this charts. 856, this was the 856 right here. And what happened? Let me zoom in a little bit. Look at this. This is where your technical analysis will come into place as well. We'll do the price action. I'll talk about the price action, and I think next week do the price action, so you'll understand how to actually learn trade using price action. You see this? We are going up on a low volume. The volume is going down while the prices are going high, and that's one confirmation that you know that it's looking a bit weak. Second confirmation would be it broke the highs, but we didn't. The moment it broke the highs, we didn't get any volume. Like, look at this, man. It hurts my eyes to even see this. There's no volume at all, even though we're breaking the highs on this. And now we know 856 had a stacked ask as well. You see this level 2? 856 had a stacked ask as well. Now, what do we know? We know that if it broke 856 to the upside and failed, I'm jumping into puts, right? What happened? 856, man, we sold off 800, and this is like, there's no crazy moves like this. It's a straight meltdown. Now the question would be, was this the only reason why it sold off whole day? I would say maybe not. But would have given you a better chance to get in? Would this have given you a better chance to get in your puts, actually confirming what you're seeing? If you had a strategy like what I showed you, 856 weakness, and you tried to short it, definitely is, right? So we melted down whole day, basically 60 points, 56 points. That's some big money. Someone said probably didn't get filled. Come on, man. Come on, bro. All right. this is example of stacked bids and stacked asks, right? So far, everything clear up until this point. Only we discussed is stacked bids and stacked asks. Let me see some yeses if it's clear. All right, stacked bids, stacked asks clear. Now let's talk about thin bids. So let's see what thin bids are, and then we'll see thin asks, right? Someone said if 856 is stacked, why the volume bar is so low? 856, those are not the orders that have gone through, man. Those are not the orders that have gone through. Those are the orders that are still pending. Maybe the volume is so low because these didn't get filled. That's why the price actually dumped. If these would have got filled, price would have gone up. They didn't get filled, and that's why price is dumped. There were not enough buyers to take over, right? All right, let's talk about thin bids. So you see this? This is thin bids. No stacking at all. Very, very space. There's a lot of space between them. Like, look at this, 13 cents. Again, there's space between them. There's not at all one price point where there's a lot of buyers spending. Do you see, or do you want me to zoom in? Let me zoom in a little. Look at this. The bids, there's no bids at all. Basically, 1 share, 3 shares, 5 shares, 60 shares, 54, 1, 27. That's nothing, right? That's nothing. If the price is, if it's a bearish setup, the price is gonna, and this was, I remember, this was 920, 820 was a critical level. After we broke 820, it was a critical level on the charts. The moment we broke 820, this is what the bids look like. And this is what we want to see when we are trading as well. If we see a big level broke, you know, always when I'm trading, I'm always telling everybody I want to see the price hold below the level. So it held below 820. Why I want to see hold below? Only thing that I'm interested in, I want to see if there will be any buyers that will be jumping in who will make the price go higher. Right. In this case, this was a perfect example of, yeah, it held below 820, but there's no buyers. Now, what's going to happen? There's nobody who's going to stop the price from melting down, right? So what happens? Let's see in the example. It broke 820, spicy bids. What happened? We melted. It was a big critical level. Now, here's my thing. I always choose the examples which will make things extra clear for you. In this case, I chose the example of the same 796. So I took this trade. I remember this was my entry when the moment we broke 820 and I saw thin bids. This was my entry, and we didn't see any sort of stacks. We didn't see any sort of stacks up until we got to the 796 area that I showed you guys for the stacked bids. So I caught this whole thing to the downside, and then I switched it to calls and I caught this move. This is the fun of trading using level 2. A lot of people, they're scared of level 2 because they don't know what to watch. You can't be staring at the level 2 whole day. You have to watch the level 2 in time and sales, which we'll talk soon, only around the critical areas, right? So the moment it broke my critical level, I saw on the tape on the level 2, there's not many buyers and it's very spacey. What did I do? I jumped in my puts and I got the move down up until we saw a stack, which I showed you guys before, 796, and we bounced $10 on it. So this is an example of a thin bid, right? Now let's talk about thin asks. Look at this, 191. There's nothing. There's nobody sitting there to stop the price. Now you see this right here. I always choose examples which will make your brain question stuff, right? Rather than picking the candy ass examples. Oh, look at this, I'm a fucking genius. Nah, yeah, I don't do the crap. So in this case, you saw right here, we have 4 different exchanges, same price point, 0.18, 4 different exchanges. But why is this not a stack? This is not a stacked ask because there's not enough shares, right? That's why it's not a stacked ask. There's a little stack, but not enough shares. But other than that, you know, if the price is broke, I think 191 was a critical level, and then we saw this. Not enough people to buy, not enough people to sell. So that means the prices have more upside. And what happened? Let's see. Any guesses? Any guesses what happened after this? Let me see some answers. Upside move, blew through it. Yep, look at this. And that's where we saw the stack, and that's where we rejected. So 191 from this point, I don't know why I made this level. 191 from this point, we went to all the way to 192. And you know, you guys know, if you do small names like Boeing, 191 to like $1.50 move actually pays, right? That stuff pays. Yeah, you get a stack, right? So this is all about level 2. See, that's level 2, man. There's nothing to be scared of, you know. It's really simple. stacked bids, stacked asks, thin bids, thin asks, and that's level 2. But there are some dangers as well. We'll talk about the dangers, and then we're done with the level 2, and then we'll talk about times and sales. All right. So some dangers of level 2. The first point, I see this all the time, man. I see this all the time, and people a lot of people fuck up. All right. The first point, market makers can hide their order sizes by placing small orders over and over again. Right. So basically, market makers can hide their sizes. Like, if you want to buy 1,000 shares and you don't want nobody to find out, they break down 100 shares every 1 cent. Every 1 cent, they break down 100 shares. And you'll be sitting there, you'll be like, nah, it's spacey. It's very, it's not stacked whatsoever. But in reality, it's stacked by the same guy. So market makers can trick you a little bit. And second is, market makers can place large offers on the bid side and the ask side. But for example, it would be, let's say on the level 2, you see 50,000 shares at 900. This is the price, 900. And you're like, oh man, that's a big stack. Price can't break through, right? And what happens? And you buy, and you short the stock, but they pull out the order and they buy the stocks instead because you're shorting it. Because when you're shorting it, you're giving them enough volume or enough volatility or enough liquidity for them to put their size on. So there's always a trick where market makers will put one big order and trick a lot of people in thinking that someone is selling. And what do retail traders go? Someone has to know something. Someone knows something, that's why they're buying it, right? Or that's why they're selling it. But it's usually, if there's just one big order, usually market makers are trying to trick you. So that's why I say, when you need to see stack from different exchanges, that simply means from different brokers sitting at different corners of the world, people are placing orders at that particular price point. That's why we want to see stacks, right? So that's why we don't rely on just one big order, right? So, and the last point is, market makers can hide using ECNs. ECNs are some electronic something, but they can hide their shares using ECNs, which are basically computerized order placement systems. They can hide their orders using that, right? So these are the dangers. So that's why we want to see, we at least want to see 2 over 1,000, at least 2, but we want to see 3 or 4 different exchanges stacked at the same price. Right. The second one is they will pull out their big orders, so you don't rely on just one big lot. Rather, have 3 or 4 different lots stacked for you to understand that it's a stack or not. Right. That's why you always see a huge bid coming out of nowhere, and it pops and it goes away, never fills, just like that. Right. These are some dangers that you need to be careful about that are involved in level 2. Right. Now, let's talk about pros and cons of level 2. What are the pros and cons? There's some pros and there's some cons, right? Like everything. Everything has some pros and some cons. I'm sorry, I swear a little bit. Anyway, pros, it will help you guide through resistance, which is the top, and support, right? So that's a number 1 pro, where level 2 will help you to find out where the support and resistances are, which will make you gauge short-term price action, which can be second point. You'll be able to gauge short-term price action. Why? Because there's a stacked bids come in, prices can bounce. So it will help you gauge short-term price movements, and you'll be able to scalp. If you can get this right, man, there's so much money there which you can make using level 2 and of course critical price points, and you can take more profits from your order. Like, remember the example that I showed you guys where I went short on Tesla 820 and I took out 796 and I switched it to calls, right? If I didn't know how to watch level 2, I would have taken profits probably at 8.15. Then I would have been like every other Instagram trader, being like, green is green. Green is green. You can't go broke taking profits. Yeah, bitch, you can't go rich taking fucking little profits as well, mate. So that's why level 2 help. Look, nothing against nobody, man, but it's just fucking funny. So that's a third point where you'll be able to take more profits. And it will improve your timing. Your timing will get better of level 2, right? Or of entries, your timings will get better. So otherwise, the moment it breaks a level and you jumping in your calls or puts and then realizing, oh man, if it did a false breakout and you lost 20% of your position, it will simply make your life easier because you know that if it broke a critical level, I want to see this to the upside. I want to see if there's enough stacked, if there's not enough stacked to call asks, or in other words, you want to see thin ask. If you're doing the upside, you want to see thin ask. If you're doing downside, you want to see thin bids the moment it breaks, so you know that you can jump in puts and you can catch a move lower, right? So it will improve your timing and you'll be able to take more money home, right? There's some cons as well on the other side. There's a couple cons, which really, if you know what you're doing, you can come out of it. But the first one, which is hard, is market makers can trick you. They can place orders. That's why stop losses come into place. They can place orders from different exchanges at one price point, trying to trick you. But usually that's not the case. But they can do it. So that's why stop losses come into play. That's why we always have a stop loss, right? Nobody knows what's gonna happen. If level 2 was a single secret, man. I swear to God, I would have been wearing this made of gold. Right? The buttons would have been gold, and I would not be wearing Apple Watch. I would be wearing Patek. Right? So you will take losses, but you will have a better edge, if that's the right word. Right? You'll have a better edge towards everything. Right? So market makers can trick you. So make sure you know where your stop losses are. Second is price manipulations. This is always the case. Like I showed you guys. There was big orders sitting at 796. It broke below, and then we bounced, right? So it broke below to 795 point something. That was just price manipulations where they broke below, hitting the stop losses of all the people, and that's why the price bounced. So this is the second point. There will be price manipulation, and sometimes you'll get caught with it. But if you're aware of it, this stuff is real. Otherwise, if you want to live in a delusional world, you need to pull your head out of your ass and actually understand this whole game is designed to take your money. It's not designed to give you money. So every single factor, your broker is designed against you. The market is designed against you. As soon as you understand this, there are better chances of you winning, coming out as a winner, than you sitting there and actually hoping or praying to God, please, this trade should work out. God, I'll never do anything bad to nobody. Please, God, just this trade work out. Nah, man, this is the game. This is the whole game. This is the game you're playing, right? So market makers can hide their trades using ECNs and all the stuff. So just be aware of it. So these are the pros and cons that are you can understand, which is support and resistance, short-term price action, more profit, and increase the timings. But cons are we can take over this by stop losses, the tricks, price manipulations. Sometimes you'll get caught, and sometimes you'll break your keyboard because it will be a critical level. You entered, it broke below, you stop loss, and then it bouncing whole day, and then you punch your screen. So you'll get caught sometimes in this stuff, which is usual, which is normal, and you don't need to break your keyboard. I'm telling you today. I always keep an extra one there just in case I broke mine. And the third one is ECNs. People will hide their orders using ECNs and stuff, and you will never find out how many shares they bought. All right, let's talk about times and sales. This is all level 2, man. This is it. There's nothing else. Now we know the level 2. Now what do we need to do is, if there's a critical level on the charts, we need to use level 2 to find out if that's a good place to enter. And then you'll need to use times and sales, which will give you a better view on if you should stay in a position. Right now, let's talk about level 2 times and sales, which will make you stay in a position from like the Tesla move of 856 to all the way to 800. There will be times and sales which will make you stay in a position rather than just taking profits at 850 and that betting your bet. Oh, you did good that you didn't chase. It's the stupidity. Let's talk about that. All right, times and sales. Times and sales, or it's also called tape, is actually live and direct representations of orders that have been filled. So these are all the orders that have been filled. This is basically what times and sales will look like. Doesn't matter what broker you use. Somewhere like this, it will be shuffled, but these are the 3 most important things: price, quantity, and time. Right? Each order shows you price executed. This is the price executed. This is the size executed, and this is the time executed. All right. Before we continue, let me break this big myth down. Red, where people think red means sell and green means buy on the times and sales. How many people here thought that green means buying and red means sell? Just say me. That's a big myth. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. I'm here to tell you that is not the case. Red tick on the level 2 simply means that the price was ticking down at the time order was filled. right? Whereas green print on times and sales means price was ticking higher at the time order was filled, right? Let's say you're in a business of selling phones, right? Because I run a few businesses in my life, like outside trading world and stuff. So I have one phone for every business, right? Look at it. Fucking, I go crazy, man. I have to put fucking everything on fucking side. I got like fucking 5, 6 phones here. Anyway, so let's say I'm in a business to sell my phones, right? Every single phone has same price or roughly the same price. There's a dude like I'm trying to sell it for 1,000. There's a dude who comes in and he offers me 950 cash right now, and he goes, "Here's a 950." So right now the price is 1,000. He gives me 950. What happens? That goes on the time and sales as a red tick. Right? Then there's a dude comes, he goes, "Man, I really love this phone. How much you want to fucking get rid of?" And I'm like, 1,050. He goes, "Yeah, here you go, 1,050." And that's an uptick from the price from 950 at that particular price. It's an uptick that goes in as a green tick on the level 2, right? It's simply there. It's just, was it an uptick or down tick when the price was getting filled? I hope this simple example made it clear. I'll try my best to use the simplicity, man. If not, fuck. You got no hope, motherfucker. If you didn't understand that, you got no goddamn hope. All right. So red simply means stock was ticking down at the price the order was filled, and green simply means the stock was ticking higher at the time the order was filled. All right. So now key points for time and sales. You guys can still hear me, right? So key points for time and sales. So all the orders that have been placed on the security, either buy or sell, every single order that is placed on. So times and sales is not only just for stocks, it's for each and every option contract out there. Like let's say you bought one call option, there's a time and sales level 2 for that particular option strike price. So it will show on the time and sales. Every single order goes on the time and sales, right? So every single order is placed on the security, buys and sales go here, time they are placed at, size of the order, and the price of the order was executed, right? Now, there are 2 conditions again for time and sales, and it's really, really simple when you're in the real time. It's really freaking simple to watch. All right, there's 2 conditions. One, you want to see aggressive buying. If you're doing upside breakout, you want to see aggressive buying. You want to see people fighting for the price, right? You want to see them taking the price higher, right? You want to see, it's like just like the Yeezys, man, or whatever you guys call it, the shoes, the Kanye's shoes, right? Yeezys or whatever you guys call it. It's just like that. If you think about it, the prices go higher. They sell on Facebook Market, for double the price, like PS5 fucking back in the day. People were going crazy. People were going nuts on that. So it's just like if you're watching diamond sales and you see a lot of aggressive buys are coming in, you know that a critical level break, a lot of aggressive buyers are coming in, prices can go even further higher, right? When aggressive buyers, how you want to see, prices increasing kind of like in an auctions, right? Yeah, 100%. So when that's happening, I'll show you some examples, as I said, but when you see aggressive buying, that's simply everything's ticking higher. Every single tick is ticking higher and higher and higher and higher. And on the level 2, on the time and sales turn green, man. The whole time and sales turn green, right? That's simply, you'll see a lot of speed. Speed definitely matters. If you're watching time and sales and there's a lot of buyers coming in at the ask or above the ask, that simply means you have aggressive buying and there's strong demand for the stock at that particular price after a critical level has been broken, right? That's a number 1 where you want to see aggressive buying. Second is aggressive selling, where simply what happens is if you watch time and sales, in case when a strong level breaks towards the downside, you want to see the tape turning red. So what it like red, like, that's why they say, there was blood on the market today. There was like, oh man, it was like bleeding. That simply means the tape was bleeding, prices were coming down, and there was aggressive selling after a critical level break. There was aggressive selling, and the whole day for the particular time frame, we kept selling off. All right, I'll show you some examples, and as I said, I try to use the same examples from whatever I showed you guys in the level 2. Look at this. Who remembers the 820 break that I showed you on Tesla? Remember the 820 break? Anybody? That's the same 820 break. Look at this. In just 20 seconds, from 950.09 to 950.29, in 20 seconds, you have these many transactions. And do you see everything's red? Red. red. The blue means below the bids. Like that's the color coding that I have set. That means below the bid. Look at this. And on top of, while this is happening, on top of that, you know that on level 2, there's also not a lot of stacks. There's very thin bids, right? There's thin bid on the level 2 at that particular price. The moment we broke 820, this is one thing that we already know. Second, we saw time and sales looking like this, and in just 20 seconds, we have so many transactions, and there are some big size moving. That simply, what does that tell us? That tell us that it's super weak. What is a white? White is usually in the mid price, something in the middle. Now, red is at the bid, people hitting the bids. White is usually something in the middle of the bid and ask. All right. So the two conditions, the three conditions, after a critical price point breaks, we see we see thin bids. Third, we see aggressive selling. What happens? If all three are met, what happens? You guys know the charts, what it looks like, right? This is what happens. We dump. See what I'm saying? Yes, you can. For me, I have tapped it out to 50. I don't want to see anything under 50 shares. I don't want to see anything under 50 shares. So you can go to the settings and set it up. Minimum 50 shares you want to see. Anything under 50, that's just not worth it, man. Right? You can do on whatever. 50, you can do that on whatever. All right. That's aggressive selling. And you saw what happened. We dumped. Right? Now let's talk about aggressive buying. Same thing. What do you want to see? You want to see a critical level towards the upside breaking. Then you want to see thin ask. There is no enough people on the ask side. And then you want to see aggressive buying and the prices shooting higher, right? Like this. What did I say? 10,757 to 10,818. Again, 20 seconds. So the green means someone hit the ask. The dark green means above the ask. You see the aggression of the buyers at that time. They're like, fuck it. Now, these are the actual shares. They're like, fuck it. I just want to get in right now. And they're hitting ask above the ask. And prices are rocketing already. In just 20 seconds, we went from 940 prints to almost 943 prints, right? I don't know if they're market orders or not, but what all I care about is as long as there's thin ask and I'm seeing this, and there's a critical level that why I entered. All these conditions are met. You guys know already what happened in the price charts. 1007. Look at this. 1007. We had one of the strategies. I don't know, mastermind students. This was one of the king and queen strategies we're forming here. We bounced, went from 740 to all the way to 774 before we had any sort of pullback. Insane, right? Insane. So this is simply level 2 and times and sales. Level 2 is simply where you see stacked bid, stacked asks, thin bid, thin asks, and on the time and sales, you want to see aggressive buying and aggressive selling, right? So let me review a little bit, so you guys can take screenshots of this after this, right? First, what is stacked bid? What is stacked bid? Anybody? There's over 100 people. You guys need to know what is stacked bid. Yeah, stacked bids, or we can say support, right? Stack ask, that is resistance. Right? Thin bid, no buyers can dump. Thin ask, no sellers can rip. Right? This is most important thing that we learned today on fucking giving me. This one thing is giving me a shitty for. So this is the most important thing that we have learned today. And then the fifth one is aggressive buying, and sixth is aggressive selling. And seventh point I'll give you is make sure you guys have a critical level where you watch level 2 and tape. Otherwise, nuts. Otherwise, you're good goddamn nuts. If you're watching level 2 just like out of everywhere in the middle of nowhere, man, you go crazy. All right, so try to stay away from it. All right, so this is simply, if I have to wrap it up, the whole thing, the whole level 2, which everyone is always scared about. This is all about it. Now, time for some questions. You guys got any questions for me? I'll try to answer every single question. All right. Damn. Fuck. I didn't need that many questions. So thin bid is small resistance. Yes. What is king and queen strategy? Do you watch only at hourly levels or also at intraday levels? It really depends, man. If there's a critical intraday level which is getting rejected so here's the thing. If there's just one critical level like this intraday level, I'll keep an eye just to see if I can play a reject. But if there's a critical level like this, a strong critical level touched like 4 or 5 times, yes, I want to pay attention to it, right? Otherwise, I'm paying attention to the hourly levels. Eric said, appreciate it. No problem, bro. Do you pay attention to dark pool orders? No, I don't give a about them. Daniel said, AMD is one of the cheapest stock you usually trade. Inspire and Tesla most expensive. Do you use the 3x 1,000 shares rule for both cheap and expensive stocks? Or you require more than 1,000 shares of AMD because it's comparatively cheaper? Yes, I would say definitely on AMD when there's a critical level. Usually it's, how do you say it? What's the easiest way to put it? Right now, there's everything on the stock market, everything that are on our charts. They split Google, they split Amazon, they split Tesla, they split in Shopify. Everything across board is very, very cheap. So for me, particularly nowadays, when I'm looking at stuff, I actually am looking at a bigger size, not just 1,000. Right now, probably you can do 2,000 or 3,000, but it really depends on whatever stock you're doing, as Nathaniel said as well. So it really depends, bro. But if it's a critical level on AMD, man, this is the stuff you don't need to do yourself, right? If there's people stacking their shares, as long as there's a stack, man, it will usually, on a cheap stocks, it will be usually a big stack, right? But on an expensive stock, it will usually be, but on a that's a minimum. Upside, it can go to fucking 1,000,000 shares. I don't care, but that's a minimum. I don't do anything below that. It's a capital required to buy 1,000 shares of Tesla. I could buy 4,000 shares on AMD. Yeah, exactly, man. So usually when there's when there's bids are coming, when a critical level's coming, usually there will be big bids automatically. You don't even have to look at it like that. You said you watch level 2 near critical levels. When do you watch time and sales? Exactly, bro. When I there's a critical level, that's when I watch time and sales. Otherwise, I try to stay away from it because I used to do it all the time, and then I realized I started fucking aging too quick. See my head go what? I'm like, I got gray hair. I'm like, hey, fuck, I'm aging too quick. Goddamn, I'm smoking too much weed and shit. I'm like, nah, I need to stop doing that crap. So now I only watch it around my critical levels. And it really is fucking soothing like that. Do you know if you can change color the time and sales in TOS? Yes, you can. You need to go to your settings. I think I don't use TOS, so I don't know. Time frames that you personally use for level 2 really depends, man. Level 2 is just you can trade a 1 minute, 5 minute, whatever. It doesn't really matter. How do you choose your critical levels? On 60-minute chart, bro. Are you watching option level 2, underlying level 2? How long do you think it will take to get used to watching level 2 and time sales? I think if you can record your screen, the best easiest way to learn all this stuff, nobody taught me this shit, right? The best easiest way to learn was I recorded my screen, and at the end of the day, or when I'm reviewing my trade, just around my critical points where I was watching in the real time, I'll go back and I'll review those things that I missed in the real time, right? Then I'll take notes. Oh, okay. I missed this. I missed this. The best way is you simply record your screen and then you go back. And the more you do it, quicker you'll be able to come up. And best level 2 software you have used, DAS Trader. It's called DAS Trader. I think it costs like 175 a month, 165 or 175 a month, something. You mentioned last time you mainly trade a 5 minute. Yeah. You also watch the key level break on 5 minute. Yeah. Are you going to do live trading with us in the morning? It's the last day. It's the last day for the quarter, man. I really want to close the quarter over 500,000 in profit. So I'm just focusing on that. Would you deal as time and sales or DAS Trader, man? So you personally apply this to price action. We have been seeing recently, we have a lot of chop back and forth, then break up or down. Yeah, we'll break down the price action next week or next week. I'm moving my houses next week. I'm moving to my fucking new house. So we'll see. We'll see, man. Thank you for the information. Will this be available on YouTube? No, it won't be available on YouTube, man. Thank you. You bought this call on gentlemen. I appreciate it. If a resistance or support level breaks, do you enter on retest or as soon as it breaks with the volume? As soon as I see my conditions met, I enter. I don't do close below. I don't do that. As soon as it meet my conditions, I enter for particular strategies, whatever I'm using. Do you use level 2 and down sales for SPY when it's very liquid? It seems like every price point is stacked. Yeah, watching level 2 on SPY is really, really freaking hard. Really freaking hard. It's really freaking quick. So usually on SPY and shit, I try to just watch every $1 move. Unless there's a weekly level or something, I try to watch every $1 move rather than me trying to watch every single thing. Is there a video webinar plotting the levels? I think that I did a YouTube video back in the day. You can congrats on your new house, bro. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I know. Hang on. I think I got it. I got one photo that I took. Hang on. You see, I get excited like that, man. That's my new a brand new fucking house. Not a brand new house, but I mean, coming from fucking being homeless to this, man, it feels fucking amazing. You see what I'm saying? That's the only fucking photo I took, I'll be honest. That was me trying to show my missus how the bathroom is, fucking all marble. That's the only fucking photo I took to send it to my wife, and I actually went to buy the house. And she's like, yeah, I want to get it. It's all marbled. I'm like, yeah. Is that the only reason you want to buy this fucking house? Nah, I appreciate it, man. Are you more of a scalp or day trader? Man, here's the thing. I think a lot of people confuse scalping and day trading. If they're this actually makes me very, very upset when people say, I'm a scalper, I'm not a day trader. Here's the thing. When there is fucking opportunity in the market, you need to fucking day trade. You need to hold your gains, you need to hold your trades so you can make big money. When there is no opportunity, you need to be a scalper. So it really depends on every trade. So if the price is moving, oh, guess what? All of a sudden, I'm a day trader. I'm holding it for long. But if it's just like, if it's just moving up and down like I see on tape, there's no clarity, I'm not going to hold because I'm a day trader. I'm going to fucking scalp it. You see what I'm saying? So don't listen to all the crap that you see. Oh, you need to be a day trader. You need to be a scalper. I'm a scalper from homeless to trading master. Good job. I appreciate it. Do you use supply and demand zones? Yes, I do. How long did it took you to be consistently profitable? 14 months. First 14 months, I had red months every single month. And after that, I had my first green month. You're an inspiration to all of us. I appreciate it, man. Hopefully your house is insect and animal proof. I don't know, bro. All I'm doing is staying in it for a year and gonna sell it for, hopefully, I'll make $1.5 million on the house. You wait for the candle to close before you enter the trade? No, I enter straight away. Yeah, 100% I'm in. Bro, I'm 1 year in. What is your screen setup? How many monitors? How many symbols? What time frame do you show? Hang on. This is my screen setup. This is my screen setup, man. It just, does the job, bro. Gets the things done. I don't know if you can see it. I think you should be able to see it. Just get the job done, man. It's two screens right here, two big curved. Then this gets a fucking job done, man. Gets me some cash. She said, when's the next mastermind coming? Yogi. Man, I don't know. Need to go to my website. That's updated by my manager. I have no fucking clue. Webinar recorded? Yeah. It is, bro. I'll send the webinar to everybody so you guys can learn. You'll have it for a lifetime and you can learn it on your own pace if you want. You guys want this in your inbox? I'll send the recordings. Too easy, man. Too easy. He said I took notes like a good boy. That's it, man. But I think that's all I have for you guys, man. All the questions are answered. Everything's done. And now, whenever you guys made your first M, make sure you guys come down Australia, visit me. The other day there was a dude who came down. He texted me on Instagram. He made his first 100K. He came down visit me. He bought me a fucking 14-year-old. Made me feel happy. So I actually loved it. I don't drink anymore, but fuck it. But yeah. All right, guys. If you guys have any questions, man, let me know in the chat. There's a option in the chat where you can ask questions. And hope you guys have good next quarters, and make sure you guys have a plan for the next quarters, like how I have my plan written out for my next quarter going forward. Hopefully next quarter goal is to make over $1 million if we can. That's my goal, just like for finances and in trading. No, in my businesses, maybe more in my business, but that's in trading. But make sure you guys have quarterly goals broken down into weeks, which and every week you're breaking down the weekly goals in 7 days and you're getting things done one step at a time to move forward. So this is what I do. I look at yearly goal. So what's my yearly goal regarding? So these are the few things that I track, right? Because not a lot of people talk about this. So I'll talk about this because I see there's no enough in videos. There's nothing to tell you guys the things that I track all the time. The 5 or 6 things that I'm always concerned about. First is business. Second is finances. Third is fun activities that you do with your wife or with anybody or with your partners, traveling and shit. Then you got health, and then you got life skills, right? You need 5 things to track down everything for every year. So I have my yearly goals, and then those yearly goals are broken down into quarters. So what I'm going to get this done. So then those quarterly goals are broken down into months. Those monthly goals are broken down into weeks, and those weekly goals are broken down into days, right? It'll take you like 3, 4, 5 days. You'll be sitting down, you'll be doing this. And then every single day, what's happening? You're moving towards your bigger goal and you won't be stressed and depressed, which otherwise a lot of people get like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, man. I'm so stressed. I have so much on my plate, but I don't know how to start. So you break your
yearly to quarters, quarterly to months, monthly to weeks, and weekly to days. And then you move in one step at a time, and you won't realize, man, how much things are you getting done. Like my yearly goal last year. I'll save this photo. I was like, I'll talk to you guys on the webinar. This is last year's photo. Last year, me and my mate having a chat. This was my goal for this year, to get my followers. This is last year. I had 747 followers on Instagram. If you can see it, 747 followers on Instagram. And I said when I was making my goal, I'm like, 2022, I'll have 10,000 followers. Now I'm at 9,400. So you see, when you break down things like this, you achieve, because you're doing the process to getting things done, and you'll actually make more cash. This is stuff nobody teaches you, man. If you don't want to hear this shit, let me know. If I don't want to be here preaching shit, I got shit to do. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned. See you guys later.
So really hope you guys enjoyed the webinar. So if you guys did enjoy it, please hit a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.